What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome to the Sunday call-in show. It's great to be here. I have not made a lot of videos, but the live streams have been steady going, and summer has just been an absolute blast to start, and I haven't even really gotten time off yet for my teaching career, so when that kicks in, I'm going to be on a whole other level of happy. It's just been really good. What's going on? Good evening to you, Tin Star. He says, good evening, fellow Jets fans. So the way this works, and again, I have to thank Stephen Engel at the top of the show right now because he's the reason why the link to join this show is in the comments right now. All you have to do is hop over there, and there's a link that you can click to join this show and to talk Jets football with all of us, myself included. And it's a little bit dry right now. There's not a ton of news to go over. There's some things, some speculative things that I'll talk to you about tonight. One of which will obviously be the AFC East. I'm very curious to see where you guys think, where the Jets fall right now in regards to the AFC East. Are we the second best team in the division? Are we only moving up from fourth to third? Are we just jumping the Patriots? Are you expecting us to be last place again? I hope that's not the case. I hope you don't believe that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments throughout the night. And if you're going to call in, I would love to hear what you guys think about that. Also going to discuss some of the Becton news that just dropped. I think it was like today or yesterday. And basically the reporting is that Becton is not going to be on the field for voluntary minicamp whenever it, I'm not sure the date specifically when that's supposed to kick off. But that's the reporting, is that he's not going to be on the field for that. And I don't know if they mean basically for the first practice or two, or do they mean for the entire mini camp? So it's a little bit confusing, as far as, what's the actual, situation here with Becton. And I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say about that. Also, Wilson is apparently struggling at OTAs, and I don't necessarily buy into that. There is a poll. I would love for you guys to vote and get in on that. What do you think about, Zach Wilson throwing a couple of picks in practice, maybe having some practices where he looked good, but then also had practices where he was inaccurate? I personally am not sweating that. I don't think that practices in the month of June and, even earlier in the month of May, I don't really buy into those impacting the season. Of course, does he need to have a better season than he did last year? Of course, nobody's going to disagree with that. I think that it's still a work in progress. And I'm not saying that Zach Wilson's going to be given excuses. I'm not suggesting that, but they are all very, very young. And I still expect that to begin the season, it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to see a top 10 offense necessarily right out of the gates. So let me know what you guys think. I'm throwing out all of this information at you, and I got one more nugget, and then I'm going to get to your comments and to people calling in, hopefully. I am going to actually be hosting on July 20th Mike Westhoff, legendary coach in the National Football League. He is going to join me live with James from Jets X Factor, and we're going to talk his book, which is upcoming. We're going to talk his career, obviously. And it's going to be close to training camp time. And so I'm going to be really excited to hear what Mike has to say regarding this current Jets team. And if I didn't mention it already, because I can't remember, he is having a book releasing very, very soon. I believe it's titled Figure It Out. And, it's his 32-year career in the National Football League. So I'm very excited about all of the things that are upcoming, and I'm excited to discuss this stuff with all of you. I'm going to go right to my comments right now. Again, the link to join this show is the pinned comment tonight, and I'll refer to that a couple of times. So hope to hear from you guys, and let's go ahead and let's get to this. Brian Sill, he says, just win, baby. Absolutely, we want to win. We want to win, and we want to have these young players develop, over the course of this offseason. Give thanks to Mrs. Jets today and the little one for giving us this time to talk Jets. Tin Star, that is a very, very kind thing for you to say. I actually appreciate you saying that. You're darn right. I need her help to be able to do this. And I appreciate that you recognize that that's definitely sort of the situation there. We do have a new a new mod, and I'm going to be adding more mods over the next, I would say next week or so. I have some people that are willing to do it. If you're interested in moderating for my channel, if you're willing to help out, to make sure that our comments section stays clean and and keeps the conversation flowing and growing. If you're into doing that, let me know, and I'd be happy to have you guys be a part of that. Everaldo de Jesus, he says, I'm not worried about the Patriots. Man, I so wish that I could be at that point. You're not wrong, because their roster is not that impressive. But the thing that still gives me pause is what gives many Jets fans pause. This team has been a literal nightmare for us fans for a very, very long time. A very, very long time. I think that's an understatement to say the least. We have had some really ugly games in primetime versus the Patriots. Belichick has just been crushing us and eating our souls. So I'm not saying I'm worried about the Patriots. I'm not disagreeing with you. But it always sits in the back of my mind. Man, we just have not really gotten over that hump yet. It hasn't really changed since Brady left. Like, we still are losing more games to the Patriots than we're winning. And so until we get over that hump, I'm still not going to sit here and say it's a layup win for us by any means. All right, let's see here. Stephen Engel, he says he's not struggling. He's probably trying things out, seeing what plays he likes to, going forward. And it says, and which ones to get rid of now that he has control of the playbook. This is a very well stated comment, and it's exactly with what my dad, my brother, and I, we talk a lot of Jets. And that's one of the things that I think my dad and I completely agree on, is that that Peyton Manning talked about it. In practice, he would absolutely be pushing the ball to really see and feel out, what can I do with the players that I'm playing with? What can I not get away with playing with these players? And that's really what this is about. It's about building chemistry, understanding where guys are on the football field, and getting into that rhythm. And again, just in sync. You need to have your players on offense get in sync. I got a great comment here from Everaldo de Jesus. So back to what you're saying, Steven. Yes, I think that's kind of my mentality, is like the practices, the numbers that were being reported. Would we love to see him dominating every single practice? Sure. But I don't know if that's what practice necessarily is 100% for. You don't want it to be like you're completing 90% of your passes and you're never really risking or looking to try new things. Because like on the practice field, I feel like that is the place to give it a go. Obviously, you want to practice proper mechanics and fundamentals, but I want to see him take take some shots down the football field in 2022. And again, getting comfortable with your team is very, very important. Tin Star, all I need to know is if Becton is healthy or if he's still rehabbing. I think, man, if he's still rehabbing, that's a concern. That would be scary, actually. I don't think that's the case, though. I think he's been working out for a while now. And so, no, I would be shocked if he was still rehabbing. Having said that, though, that the process for him to be in great shape is probably close to a all year thing. Like, he has to be working out probably all the time to maintain a good, healthy weight and to stay strong and be able to be sound with his technique. He hasn't played football a lot in the last, 2 years. So getting healthy and practicing, I think, is a huge thing for him. I think that the Jets mostly just want to get their hands on him and take a look at him, because they haven't laid eyes on this guy for a while. They haven't even seen him, go through drills, individual drills, let alone getting on the field and competing. So to me personally, I think I actually don't care. Like, if he's going to miss just a couple of practices and then get right to it, absolutely fine. I have no problem with that. I think that's a big possibility that the Jets just want to get their hands on him and take a look at him. Anthony, he says, Hey, John, thanks for taking the time to provide us with some Jets content. I need something to take my mind off of the New York Rangers loss last night. I have been keeping track of that series. I'm not a huge hockey fan. I do like it when I watch it. I just don't have a team that I necessarily follow. I was rooting for the Rangers, obviously. The New York thing is a thing, and also James, who does the live streams with me on Wednesday nights. He's been he's been talking about how he's a Rangers fan. They went up 2-0 in the series, and certainly that doesn't guarantee a team anything. But to have it get squandered, going 4 games in a row and not winning a hockey game sucks. So I feel bad for Rangers fans, and I'm happy to give you a little bit of a respite from thinking about it. Thank you very much, Buffalo Jet fan. Appreciate that. I am excited to sit down and talk with him. It's going to be really cool. I got to talk to legendary safety Victor Green, who formerly played with the Jets and a couple of other teams. That was really cool and really fun. I'm looking forward to doing it live, though. I've never done anything like that before live with a person of that magnitude with the career that he had. And he did. He had a legendary career. Don't make a mistake about it. He's one of the best special teams coach in NFL history. I think it's a safe statement that I'm willing to make, is that he is one of the best coaches that's ever really come through the Jets organization. And that's a very, very high, comment to be making about a guy and a guy that did it for so long. Let's see here. I'm a Devils fan. Lightning are going to three-peat. I know you were against the Rangers. No worries. I don't have an affiliation with the teams in the NHL. Basketball I'm a little bit more passionate about, but hockey is I would say probably my third favorite sport. And there's definitely a tiered list there. NFL is way, way above and a bit beyond everything else. Let's see here. Let's go Patriots. No, you've had enough fun. Don't be selfish. Don't be like that. This is not your turn. You've had your moment in the sun. Patriots fans are so spoiled. I'm not knocking you, Tyler, by the way. I am just talking crap. I think that they are so spoiled. I would love a fraction of the success that the Patriots experienced and that their fans got to enjoy. HD Marino, he says, let's be honest. If there's a time to do experimental stuff throwing the ball, it's in practice and in camp. I agree completely. And then we got a super chat here, and it's from Everaldo. He says, wow, you pronounced my name correctly. Well done. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad. I'm very proud of myself. I try my best to read the entire name on the screen. I don't know why I was able to do it. Maybe it's just my night. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate the support. Yes, Tin Star agrees. Now is the time to make these mistakes in practice. I agree completely. Let's see here. I don't know. I don't mind a 70% completion percentage if it's all short passes, screens, etc. That just means we're moving the ball down the field. Oh, don't get me wrong. During the season, I definitely want him to be completing 1,000,000 passes. I want him to be 100% accurate. I'm only talking about in practice. I don't really care the percentage of completions that he has in practice, just because of all of those factors that we discussed. But yeah, if it's short passes during the regular season and he's completing 70% of his passes, definitely, dude. Make no mistake about it. Oh, even avocado. That is not even close to your name. It does rhyme though, which is kind of catchy. Everaldo Avocado. Let's see here. Learn what your new receivers can do and how to best get them the ball. Agreed again. We got V-Man who called into the show. He's got his guitar, but I want to hear him talk a little bit about these practices with Zach Wilson. How you doing, V? How you doing, Vinny?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just excited. Looking forward to all the things that are coming up this summer. What do you got going on?
Nothing. I just came back from my grandmother's 91st birthday.
Dude, congrats. That's awesome. My grandmother is right around that age. I think she's like 94 years old. Um, are you Italian, if you don't mind me asking?
Partially, I am. I'll go
The-
I am Italian, Puerto Rican, Spaniard, and fraction Venezuelan. Only
yeah,
because
no,
my only because my dad was born there.
I see. I only ask because it feels like Italian women, they are just feisty and they just never go anywhere.
Um, None of my grandmothers are Italian.
Oh, okay. All right. That's all right. Regardless, I'm very happy for you and happy for her. I want you to go ahead and talk to me a little bit before you give me a little riff here, like a little outro. What are your thoughts on the Zach Wilson reports that he's struggling a little bit in practice?
I don't worry. It's practice. That's what it is. It's you know, as you practice, that you get better. You learn from failure. Failure is the great teacher in life. I don't worry about it. I never hate the Patriots, but no, I think honestly because I didn't watch the Jets when the Dolphins were relevant. So to me, I hate the Patriots more. But
Yeah, no,
yeah, what I was saying is that yes, I'm not worried about it. Also, off topic thing, did you see ESPN's ridiculous take for the first overall pick? I mean,
yes. So,
do they not know who the Jets are? First off, let's just get the first off thing. If the Jets are bad, we know how it works for Jets when they're bad. They're bad enough, they're not good enough to make the playoffs, but they're not terrible enough to get top draft picks. The moment they're eliminated, they roll off a couple of wins and fall out of that nice draft spot. I mean, there's a reason why the Jets only have one first overall pick in their entire history that they earned on them by themselves. That's Keyshawn Johnson. For those who don't know, Namath was a trade with the Oilers for the first overall pick.
there you go. Well,
So like,
I think the ESPN's just smart because they know when they do that, they're striking a beehive.
well, no, they want to regurgitate a stale lull Jets narrative to try to trigger us. But I find it funny, like we're supposed to be the clown show. We're like after everything that we've been praised for the free agency, praised for the draft, praised this entire offseason. Meanwhile, a little bit up north in Foxborough, they have the clown. You have an off season of I don't know what they're doing in free agency. I don't know what they're doing in the draft. I don't know what they're doing at offensive coordinator with Beardo McGee, Matt Patricia with that like hobo beard there running deep. Former defensive coordinator who took over the Lions, who had the seventh ranked offense in points per game and fell to the 25th. And he's supposed to call plays, and yet we're the clown show dumpster fire that's supposed to fall to the first overall pick.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I think it's ridiculous. And then before I kick you off, because I want to try to get as many people as I can tonight. Where do you think we rank right now? AFC East. Of course, we want to be number one. Where do you expect us to be? Remove your heart for a moment. Where do you
Well,
expect the Jets to end up?
okay, so I'll be honest. I'll go from top to bottom. Well, obviously the Bills are still number one. I mean, just got to put them there. That they've proven what they've proven over the last 4 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And can't really say anything about it. But the Dolphins, I'm gonna have to put them two just because they've had back-to-back winning seasons. So gotta give them a little edge. The Jets, I'm gonna put at 3. The Patriots are 4 because it's just let's be honest, the Patriots are not a good football team. They can't don't buy their record. Don't buy the 10-7 record. They're 8-18 in the last 3 seasons against teams over 500.
That's
And
good.
the teams they have beaten that are over 500, none of them are really good. They're either injured, inconsistent, or they beat them in freak weather. I mean, they beat the Bills in the windstorm, and in 2020 they beat the Ravens in a monsoon. So it's like the weather did have to work for them. So like they're not that good.
I completely agree with you. I think it's great that you're being realistic with the potential that the Dolphins could be number two. I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility for sure. Thank you for calling in, man. I really appreciate that. As always, do your little outro before I kick you out.
Okay.
House of Rising Sun, I believe. Was that House of Rising Sun? I don't know. I'm not very good with that type of what's the song when you hear like 3 chords played? Thank you very much, V-Man, for calling in. Kevin Coker is a new supporter to the channel. I really appreciate the support. The new member to the channel, I should say. He says, I feel there is no worry about him throwing interceptions in practice. Why? There isn't a worry. No worry at all. I think that was one of my options for you to vote was no, wake me up in September. If he's doing this in September, then I'll worry because that's when the games count. If he's having games like the Patriots game, the Broncos game, and he's just totally ineffective, then I'll be worried. This is not the time to be worried. And I think it's funny. Like some people react to it the same way we do. Like it's just kind of like, okay, it's practice, whatever. Like even if he was lighting it up, I wouldn't really be all that excited. But then there's other people that do. They get worried or they get like upset. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not so easily upset. I don't know. Not with this one, at least. Facebook user, I wish I could see your name. It's good to see you though. And he says, or she says, it's just practice. Give the guy a break. When the season begins, everyone is going to be surprised. The Jets will have a great season. Let's go, Jets. Certainly the capability to do it. You do play to win the game. What's going on, Sean Bennett? We got the guitar emoji now because V-Man was in here. House of the Rising Sun was what I was trying to buy. Yes, that's what I called. I thought I was right. All right. So anyway, I'm going to remind everybody one more time before I move on to my next topic here. Please consider calling in. I've got the link is the pinned comment. You can click on that and join me and talk Jets. And I will let you discuss a hot take of yours, where you think the Jets rank in the AFC East. You can talk about anything you want, though. You can talk about OTAs, mini camp that's upcoming. I'm happy to discuss anything and everything. And for people that are watching this live, go ahead and throw in your questions, your takes. I'm happy to read them until time is up. So we'll talk a little bit right now. We've talked a lot about Wilson. I want to get back to this Becton thing because I mentioned earlier that, if he's just showing up and, he needs like a day or two for them to take a look at him in individual drills, that to me will be just fine. And I think that there's no concerns if that's the case. But I do want to kind of speculate the dark side of this, which again, I'm not expecting, and I'm very, very optimistic on Becton. But the other concern is what if he isn't going to be, it's not just because they want to look at him, it's because he's not ready to go one-on-one versus other players in practice. Again, that's not my expectation, but if it's the case, and it's a concern of him not being ready to practice, what would be your thoughts on that? I would be curious to know. To me, it would make me feel like we got to get somebody in here, and I know that the Jets recently brought in offensive tackle Riley Reef. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He played with the Bengals last year. And, he is not an elite offensive tackle, I guess, if you want to say that. He is not one of the best tackles in the league, but he's a decent backup. And I think that at this point in the offseason, he would come at a very, very reasonable price. I'm very excited to see if they go after this guy, because I think that this would be one of the best moves that they could make from after the draft until the beginning of the season. Getting somebody that has starting experience, who has played in the National Football League, and would be able to step in if one of either George Fant or Mekhi Becton went down at some point. I'm not down on Max Mitchell by any means. I actually really like that draft pick, and I think that, in 2023, he's going to have a chance potentially to compete for one of the offensive tackle positions, assuming that Fant, is not brought back. Max Mitchell, to me, has the long-term, potential, but I don't really want to see Max Mitchell out on the football field in week 4 if Fant or Becton gets hurt for a game or two. I don't want to see that. I want him to have time to really learn how to play offensive tackle in this offense and how to be an offensive lineman in the NFL. There's a huge adjustment that happens with most players. I think that we look at quarterbacks often and we say that they need time to develop, but there's a lot of different positions that are not easily, transferred from college to your first year in the NFL. And I think offensive tackle is definitely one of those positions. And this offensive scheme asks a lot of the offensive line. And it's not just physical, expectation. Excuse me. It's mental. Knowing what to be doing on the field, where to be blocking, who to be blocking, in what situation. These guys have a lot on their plate. And so, again, back to my original point, if Becton is out at any point this season, or Fant, I don't feel really good about, throwing out a rookie. And, there's other people that disagree with that. And so I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. So Tinstar says that would be a problem if he's not ready to line up against an opponent. And I agree. I think that if he's not ready to just physically take on a pass rusher right now, that worries me. Like if he can't physically take it, the toll of doing that, that would be concerning. I don't expect that to be the case, though. I think that he's more or less just kind of working his way back, and I think the Jets want to take their time with him. Kevin Coker, again, new member to Jets Today, and he says, because he is doing it against the best defensive backs yet to be recognized in the AFC, in other words, he will get better, but he will destroy the opposition. His defense will not be against him. There you go. Yeah, we do have some good defensive backs, don't we? I think we have a much improved secondary from 2 years ago to now. Our secondary, it's not, I don't know if it's going to be the best defensive secondary in the NFL, but man, we've gotten a lot better. More veterans, more talent. I still think that Pinnock and LaMarcus Joyner competition is going to be one of the juiciest competitions this offseason, and possibly it'll bleed into training camp. Who is going to win the free safety job, the majority of those snaps? Pinnock is right now, it's like he's playing a lot of starting, snaps in these OTAs and in these mini camps. So, yeah, I'm very interested to see how that works out. I think there's a reason why Fant hasn't been extended yet. I think that Joe Douglas is 100% not going to extend him. I think he's going to look, again, to potentially Max Mitchell to be that cheap contract and replacement. They're going to assess him this season and next offseason, but there's a possibility that they try to draft another player, and they might even sign another player. We just signed Laken Tomlinson. They may look to free agency to get another offensive lineman to compete with Max Mitchell. I think there's definitely a chance that Fant's playing his last season with the New York Jets. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Edward Stewart should have kept Morgan Moses for another season, and Fant would be ready to go if Becton's not ready. So the only problem with that, and of course that would have been super nice, being able to keep Morgan Moses, the familiarity that he had with the scheme, with the teammates, and his veteran presence. He is a longtime starter now in the National Football League. The only problem is Morgan Moses, my understanding is he got a pretty good paycheck from the Baltimore Ravens to be a starter. And on this team, he's either fighting for a starting spot with Fant or he's on the bench. And I don't think the Jets could afford to pay, 3 starting offensive tackle money, to three different players paying starting offensive tackle money. So I think that's the problem. Is Eric Fisher an option to sign? I believe he is, and I think that right now the early favorite is got to be Riley Reif or Rife, whatever you want to, however you say his name, just because they've already brought him in for a visit, and they've brought in a couple of players. I think Larry Ogunjobi has either visited or has talked to the Jets, and I know that Quan Alexander has been brought in for a visit. Eric Fisher has been brought in for a visit. I think that these are guys that the Jets are interested in. And again, it's one of those situations where I think Joe Douglas has a number, and he says, here you go. This is what you want, or this is what I'm offering you. You can come be a New York Jet, or you can walk. And it sucks because it would be really great to have all three of these guys, or even just two of them. But I think Joe Douglas just knows that this is the point in the offseason where you can get a really great deal if you stand firm. And I think that's why there's such a long period of waiting right now with those two defensive players specifically, is I think that they're just waiting for another team to come in with a different offer. So there could be the possibility that when training camp begins, right before it or shortly before it, these guys get signed, and you just have to hope that the Jets are a possibility for some of these veterans. I don't think they're going to make these moves, in the next, couple of weeks. I think it'll be probably in July. It could be at the end of June, excuse me. But, Eric Fisher, I think, if they bring him in for a visit, that would definitely be very telling. As far as interest, I think he'd be a good fit too. Let's see here. Oh, man. Kevin, I love the enthusiasm, brother. He says, Zach going long will destroy the AFC. Our defense will lock down the opposition. Our run game is going to run wild. Nobody will be able to stop the stealth Jets. Listen, dude, the running game is one of my favorite aspects of offense. I love watching a dominant offensive line just take over a football game. And you can kind of get that sense when you're watching teams sometimes that the line of scrimmage is just being dominated by one team. And that's what the Rex Ryan era was all about, was maintaining and dominating the line of scrimmage, similar to what the Jets are trying to do right now. And if we can get our offensive line to where I think it's really capable, again, I think very highly of Becton. I think that Fant on the left side is a very good pass protector and would serve, well in that role this year. You add in a Pro Bowler and Laken Tomlinson. You've got Connor McGovern, a veteran who has been with the Jets for several years now. Say whatever you want about him. Is he an elite, center? No, not necessarily, but he is a quality starting player in the National Football League. Elijah Vera Tucker, you got in the mix as well. And then Mekhi Becton, if he gets back to what he was his rookie season, we have a chance to play some smash mouth football. And it's not just, ground and pound. We're not talking about running the football 50 times a game, but what you are talking about doing is dictating to the defense, what you're going to do, and they got to stop it. And that's one of the things that's been missing from offense with the New York Jets for so long, is we don't have an identity on offense. We very rarely dictate what's going to happen on a given play. And I'm so hoping that we can do that. I'm hoping that we can get back to our offense, or even our defense, controlling the game. Because that's what it takes to win football games, is being in control and punishing the other team for their mistakes. Buffalo Jet fan coming in with the cap numbers, which I appreciate. He says Moses got 5.5 mil. Problem with Moses is he only plays right tackle, so you're not a swing tackle if you can't swing. And that's a very good point. Also, that's actually cheaper than what I had expected. I thought that he got closer to that like $8 million mark. So for him to be $5.5 mil and we not be able to re-sign him definitely stinks. And so, I'm going back on what I said. I will correct myself. I thought he got more money than that. So I was wrong there. Morgan Moses at $5.5 mil is just, a little bit more than what he got, last year with the Jets. Yeah, man, I don't know. It just depends on what do they sign Reef for. If they sign Reef for $4.5 mil and we could have had Moses potentially at $5.5, that would suck. I would rather have Moses in that scenario for sure. He's not a swinger. Nope. Morgan Moses is a right tackle. That is very sure. Let's keep going here. I'm going to say one more time, a reminder, because I'm getting closer to that 9 p.m. mark. If you want to be on the show right now and talk some Jets with me, come on down. I got the link in the chat. I can post the link live right now, I think. No? That's all right. I'll post it in here. Here we go. I just posted the link to join this live show. So if you want to get on here and talk some Jets with me for a few seconds, I would love to do that with as many of you or as little as of you, as I can keep reading your comments all night long. I don't mind doing that. And this has been a lot of fun tonight. And I have to I have to find some time this summer to start recording videos again. It's definitely been a couple of weeks, and I do recognize that. I can assure you that the streams are going to continue, and we will, as the season gets closer, we'll start heating up again for sure. We were very, very steady during the off season, during the pre-draft process, free agency. We covered all of it. So hoping you guys continue to tune in for the live shows and for some of the videos. HD Marino, Danny, he says, I still think that defense will surprise this year. Top 15, top 20 offense. If you're counting on the pass rush to be better, and if you're counting on guys like DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead coming in and really, Sauce Gardner, how did I not include him? If you're counting on those guys in the secondary kind of matching up with what we expect our pass rush to be this season, which again, we're hoping is improved, why not top 15 defense? I don't think that's crazy. I think I still tread in the 14 to like 20 range for our defense. I think that's kind of my expectation. I would say I would not be disappointed if we were like 21st in the NFL. I think that's okay. Again, we were one of the worst defenses in team history last season. So if we had a jump like that into the low 20s, I think that's a pretty big improvement. And certainly, over the next year or two, we're hoping for much more than that. Because we want to be competing, and it's going to take a good, strong defense to be able to do that. Not being able to go during mandatory minicamp. We talked a little bit about that earlier. I think that the idea here is the Jets want to get their eyes on him. They haven't seen him. They haven't watched him practice, and they haven't seen him do individual workouts in person. I think that's kind of like a necessary bridge to cross for the Jets. They haven't worked with him. And I think that's the thing is I don't know if it's that he can't go. I think it's the Jets want to assess him. Having said that, if he's not able to go physically, unable to perform, that's concerning. That would be very, very concerning because now we're getting into that, a little more than a month away from training camp time. He's got to get close to that sooner rather than later to really be to be counted on, I would say. Stephen Engel agrees. That's where he's at with the offense and the defense. Anthony Coleman, one thing I know from playing sports is if you mess in practice, let me repeat that. One thing I know from playing sports is if you mess in practice, you will mess up in the game. Wilson needs to get it together. Coaching staff need to let him play loose and don't limit him. And this is a great answer. It shows that you don't want him to necessarily restrict what he does on the football field, but he also needs to play smart, right? I think that's what you're saying. You're not saying that he shouldn't, take chances because you're literally saying that. Let him play loose. Let him play free. Let him be aggressive. Just learn how to be smart and be careful with the football. You can play aggressively, but also play smart. It's definitely a balance for sure. So I appreciate the comment, Anthony. I think it's very well said by you. Tin Star, I completely agree with you. The analytics also agree with this. Larry Ogunjobi, defensive tackle of the Bengals, who had signed with the Bears, and then they cut him due to a failed physical. He is not a run-stuffing defensive tackle. He would be brought in as a pass rusher, pretty much exclusively. And I think that's okay. Like, Quinnen Williams needs a breather every once in a while, and I think he'd be a great player to rotate with Quinnen. Those guys could do a lot of work. They would wear offensive linemen out. Ogunjobi had like 7.5 sacks last year. And as a interior pass rusher, that's really, really good. That's not like nothing to sneeze at there. 7.5 sacks as a defensive tackle is pretty freaking good. I'm not saying it's elite, but I'm saying like you're getting really good production. from a position that typically doesn't get close to double-digit sacks. That's just not typical of that, interior defensive lineman. Moses wants to start, and that's the other issue, right? The Jets are saying, no, we are expecting Becton to get back to form, and we like George Fant, so we're going to say goodbye to you. I think you're right. I think the Jets just were of the frame of mind that they could save some money, and they already had two guys they like a lot, and maybe they thought to themselves, we can go to the draft. Max Mitchell's obviously a guy they liked a lot, and they're saving money. They're saving millions of dollars with that move. Christy Marie, and she says, I love this message here. This is great. And I agree with this, by the way. I think I've said it before on the channel. I think Robert Saleh, of all of the people that are involved with this Jets organization, so Zach Wilson, Joe Douglas, some of the bigger names, I think Robert Saleh is among the ones that have maybe the most pressure on them to really make a big stride forward this season as a coach. I think it's super important that your head coach not only know what they're doing, but be effective and have what you said, a stamp. When a team's preparing for you, they say, damn, we got to prepare for this. Like, this is something that this team does super well, and we have to be able to account for it. Saleh needs to put his stamp on this defense. I know he must have been sick watching our defensive line getting pushed around last year. And this is so true, because this is everything that Saleh is. It's pass rush, it's line play, and attacking. Not just sitting back, not just hoping you get a lucky deflection, not just hoping for an errant pass. They want to pin their ears back and come after you with that front line and that speed on the back end of the defense. Saleh needs to get this defense improved, and he needs to get this whole team playing much more competitive football. Everybody agrees with you. I don't think anybody could sit there and say, nah, I don't really hope for us to be more competitive on a week-to-week basis. You're 100% right, Christy, excuse me. The Buffalo Jet fan, he says, at the end of a close game, would you feel more confident in the Jets offense getting a score or the defense getting a stop? Love this question. You're so damn creative, dude. Seriously, with the questions and the ideas, you're really very, very good at it. This is an awesome question. I will say I would feel more confident. Depends, like current team. I'm going to say without any injuries, I would say defense. If we've got Carl Lawson, Quinnen Williams, JFM, and the like on that defensive line, Jermaine Johnson, Michael Clemens, Vinny Curry, the Sheldon Rankins, the list goes on and on and on. If we've got all of those horses in the stall, and we've got this speed, this youth, this veteran leadership on the back end of the defense, DJ Reed, I readily admit, I wasn't paying enough attention with this guy before free agency began. This is a very, very good football player. DJ Reed is a guy that we as a whole should be very, very excited about. Sauce Gardner. Many Jets fans love the idea of taking this kid at 4. And I didn't necessarily guarantee that we would take him by any means. That's not what I'm saying. But I would have taken him. Like, I was very, very excited with Sauce Gardner at 4. And then you double, you go get your defensive lineman either, by trading up or by taking one at number 10 overall. And everything worked out in this draft for the defense early on. So to answer your question, defense, because philosophically, if they get after the quarterback with the front line, the secondary has a lot of speed and a lot of playmaking ability. So there's my answer. Defense, and it's not a knock on anybody else, on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, though, it's exciting, man. If we're healthy, and Carl Lawson, I didn't talk enough about him, man. He was a terror last, leading up to the season. He was a terror in these practices, ripping it up. We were worse, but we had play stringers. Oof, great stat. Great stat. 9 safeties started last year. Are you just kidding? Elijah Riley, Jason Pinnock, May, Ashton Davis. That's 4 I've got right there, and I know there's more. We had Joyner start a game. Yeah, I mean that's 5. So yeah, that's insane though, to think how many players, were interchanged last year due to all the injuries. It was brutal. You stop it, Vern. Becton ate all the baby food and lost control of his diet. Becton is going to be a monster. I'm still confident in that. If I'm wrong, I'll be fine with admitting it, but I'm very confident. I think Becton's going to have a monster season. I really do. I think he's motivated. Tin Star, he says, we're probably looking at 7 starters on defense playing that wasn't playing or weren't playing last year, including JFM moving inside. Another supremely underrated aspect of this defense going into 2022 is this very move. JFM pushing inside, not exclusively. I still think he's going to play some edge in certain situations. I think he can play the similar role that Jermaine Johnson will play on this defense on the other edge opposite Carl Lawson. But I think Jonathan Frankel-Myers, if you look at the analytics, and Jets, complete credit to Jets X Factor, because I read all of their analytics on this guy. He was very, very, very effective on the interior, and he was a good player on the edge for us last year, but it wasn't the same quality that we got from him on the interior. He was a significant jump better on the inside than he was on the outside. And with, with adding Jermaine Johnson, Michael Clemens, hopefully getting Carl Lawson back, that's going to allow him to play more on the inside. And he is devastatingly effective and very, very good on the inside. So if you're in a passing situation, for the offense and you're going against them on defense, you have the ability to line up Carl Lawson, Quinnen Williams, JFM, and Jermaine Johnson as a front 4 and just going at the quarterback. It won't be every third down. It won't be every passing situation that those 4 guys are out there. That's a hell of a little, whatever you want to call it, a group of 4, man. They can really do some damage. Those are some effective pass rushers. Edward Stewart, my newest mod for the chat, he says, it's nice to see that Revis confirmed that he has spoken to Sauce and had taken the promising defender under his wing. They exchange numbers and they communicate as best they can. Other past DB reached out as well. Yeah, man, it's great. And I hope that he takes him under his wing. Could you imagine if Darrelle Revis even passes over 10% of his knowledge? I mean, that's probably even too much to say. Could you imagine, though, if he can give him just some information that really helps Sauce Gardner into year 1 and for the rest of his career? It'd be amazing. Jose Colon Jr., this is an awesome message. He says, what's up, John? Longtime viewer, first-time subscriber. Like your content. Dude, I really appreciate that. Very, very much excited to have new people joining the channel and to interact. So really appreciate it and excited to have you. He says, a question for you is, are we real worried that Zach is throwing picks in OTAs? So Jose, again, thank you for the comment and thank you for subscribing. No, I'm not. I would be more concerned if this was happening in September. I know that sounds like I'm being almost sarcastic. If it's happening when the season begins, that's when I'll start to really smack the panic button. But if it's happening in practice right now, I'm not so worried about it. And honestly, even if it's happening in preseason, that won't really make me lose my mind either. It's what happens when the lights are on. When the games begin and the bullets start flying, how does he respond? He didn't throw a whole lot of interceptions last year, down the stretch especially. And I believe 7 of his 11 interceptions came in 2 games. So I don't expect him to throw a ton of interceptions this season. That wasn't who he was at BYU. and it wasn't really who he was as a rookie with the Jets. So no, I'm not too worried about it. And again, I think that the thing to look for is what is he doing in the first month of the season? You know, those first 4 games of the season, how does he look? That's what I'm going to be looking for. I'm waiting until those couple of games to truly see and give you my true, insight on what I think is going to happen with this guy for the rest of his career. And I do think that we're going to have a good sense, watching him play these first 4 games of the season, there should be improvement. Everybody should have the expectation that he's going to improve and be better. And I don't see why he wouldn't. So thank you again for subscribing. Thanks for the question. Really appreciate that. Oh, Drupacabra. He says, I just hope Mackay doesn't try to eat his own baby. Good Lord, man. Let's see here. Kevin Coker. He says, I truly believe once you win that trophy, that takes care of everything else. Everybody gets paid. You win the Super Bowl. I believe the winning team earns in excess $50 million. Listen, dude, that all of these guys want to win a Super Bowl. Even the guys that are backups, the guys that don't get a ton of playing time, because it impacts their market when they go to free agency or when they're signing a new contract. Especially these big time players. Like if your quarterback wins the Super Bowl, they're going to get major money, like just unbelievable life-changing money that is generational, literally. I remember when Flacco had his run with the Ravens where he had an unbelievable postseason and then had a great Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, and he got a mega contract at the time. Winning a Super Bowl changes lives, quite literally. So this is exactly right. If Zach Wilson wins a Super Bowl before his second contract, he will make close to $60 million a year. And that sounds insane. It's not that crazy, actually. If he wins a Super Bowl. Absolutely. Aaron Rodgers, I think he's getting like 50 mil right now per year or something like that over the next 3 years. So it's not out of this world impossible. Edward Stewart, he says, nice to see Conklin revealed Uzoma would be heading to tight end U. I heard about that. Yeah, I saw that Boy Green had that interview with Conklin. That was super cool. And I'm very, very happy that, again, Zach just continues to connect with his teammates and getting them all involved. And again, this would be the hope, is that once training camp gets here, they're starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. They're familiar with one another. They know who each other are. That's the other thing that nobody's really taking into account, is that they're still getting to know one another off the football field. And I do believe that chemistry off the football field is an impact to really building a rapport. Interesting. Madden seems to think highly of JFM. Every franchise season I play, he's getting double-digit sacks easily. Yeah, he's a pretty good football player in Madden. I play quite a bit of Madden myself. Anybody that wants to play me in Madden, I would love to do that. I am on the Xbox. I think I'm pretty good at Madden. I don't know. I think I could smack you all around a little bit. Yeah, I love Madden. Used to play it a lot. Specifically in college and post-college, like shortly after college, before I had a daughter college type of situation. Wilson will never make 60 mil a year. Don't rule it out, man. He's so young. I'm not saying he will make 60 million a year, but again, they're not saying he will make 60 million a year. They're saying that if he wins a Super Bowl, he's going to get bank. All these quarterbacks in the next 20 years, it's going to be unbelievable the money that we see getting paid these guys. I mean, these guys are going to be making so much money. The top end quarterbacks I'm talking about. Not every quarterback. Oh, I love this, Vern. I did put a little community question out there asking everybody what they thought. So if you didn't see the tweet, it was a couple of days ago. Woody Johnson sent out a simple tweet and it just read, what do you think of these helmets? and it was a video highlight. I believe it was Kenny O'Brien throwing a touchdown pass in the right corner of the end zone. And it was them wearing the retro Jets 80s logo, which is my favorite logo. You know, I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's my favorite logo in team history. I think that it's that good. It incorporates the jet, which none of the other logos do really. And when I say they incorporate the jet, I mean it's the jet stream. And so I'm going to really quickly, just for reference, because maybe you don't really know what I'm talking about. I hope you do. If you're a Jets fan, you should know what this logo looks like. But again, I think this is the best logo. And again, Woody Johnson just asked everybody on Twitter. He said, what about this logo? What about these helmets? I think is what he said, actually. I think this is a beautiful logo. I think, again, as I said, I think it's the best logo in team history. It's clean. It's distinct. And I think that it's a timeless logo. That could be the logo for the rest of the franchise's history. I really mean that. I think that there are teams like the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys. They just have a very, it's like almost like basic. Like the logo is very, very simple but distinct. And I think that that's what this logo is. I think that it's just so clean and simple, but yet definitive. And so anyway, if you didn't catch my excitement there, I love that logo. It's my favorite Jets logo. And if they add it as an alternate, because that's something new in the NFL, is you can have alternate helmet logos and helmets in general, I would be so excited. And I think that's what they're going to do, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. I think the Jets will have the 80s logo as an alternate helmet in 2022. They haven't unveiled it yet. I think they're going to unveil it maybe closer, to the season. And I think they're going to kind of just test it out. How do the fans react? And based on what I look at online, on Twitter, Instagram even, it's a very, very popular logo amongst the fan base. Now, not everybody loves it, and that's never going to be the case. Not everybody's going to ever love one particular thing, but many fans adore that logo. And so to answer this question and to talk about this, I think it's a no-brainer. It should be the alternate logo for our helmets in 2022 and beyond. And hopefully, when we're able to, rebrand ourselves, which I think it's a 5-year period of time. I don't think you can do it, just right after you create a new logo like the Jets did in a new uniform. If they want to rebrand themselves after that 5th year, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Jets fans would throw money, myself included. I love it. I think it would be fantastic. The Buffalo Jet fan, he says, Zach looked like Joe Montana in last year's preseason. And he did. If you don't remember, guys, he looked really good in the preseason. He had an awesome game versus the Packers. And then what was the other game? He had a really good one. It wasn't the Giants game. It was the other team we played. Was it not the Eagle? I can't remember. He played phenomenal in that Packers game. So anyway, he looked like a Joe Montana in last year's preseason, then threw 4 INTs in week 2. As long as Zach stays healthy, I don't know about anything before 9/11. Exactly. None of us will. That's exactly why I'm saying it. Talk to me after the first 4 weeks of the season. And you could talk to me before that. I'll still listen to you if you want to talk Zach Wilson. I think that's the only way to really know what's the progress. What is his career, his second year of his career going to look like? Anything before that, it's too premature. I'm not prepared to overreact to good reports, and I'm not prepared to overreact to bad reporting, or I guess I should say poor performance in practices. I don't see the point. As a fan, it's just going to make you drive. It's going to drive you crazy. And it's not worth it. It's too frustrating to even think about it. Because if he struggles in practice and then he struggles in the season, then it'll be really frustrating. Like, that's gonna suck. I saw this Ragna Jet, and I'm gonna have to say I have a very firm take here, but I'm gonna read your comment first. Connor Hughes says Lawrence Cager is the most athletic tight end, has been a real star of OTAs, has been turning heads with his catches, real matchup problem, could be a dark horse. This tight end room is stacked. Uzoma, Conklin, one of my favorite players in the entire draft, Jeremy Ruckert, 3 tight end set. I mean, what's not to love about that? Dark horse. He'd have to be the 4th tight end, right? He would have to beat out Kenny Yeboah, which I think is possible. But what about a fullback? What about a fullback? Are we going to carry one, or are we not going to carry one? Because if we're not carrying a fullback, then yeah, it's possible. But if we're going to carry a fullback and 4 tight ends, I'm starting to doubt it a little bit. So I'm not disputing the reports. I'm sure he's been looking good, and that's definitely something I've read and heard. Let's see how he does in the preseason. Let's see how he does in these training camp practices. But yes, I've heard the same reports as that he stacked weight this offseason. He's up to like 241 pounds. And, you know, if they see him as a threat, as a receiving threat, yeah, I think it could be really interesting. Let's get to some comments here. I scrolled past a bunch of comments, and I do apologize, guys. I agree. It is the best Jets helmet in NFL history. Glad to see you agree with me. Tin Star, you're very, very kind. This is very, very nice. I appreciate that. Support the channel so we can continue to get great stuff done. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that, Tin Star. I'm going to keep doing my thing whether you support me or not, because I love talking Jets. Let's see here. Good. Jets Chaos. I got to get you on this summer, brother. I'm really hoping to get back to the collaborations this summer, like I did leading up to the draft. It was a ton of fun, and I didn't even get everybody that I wanted on. I wanted to get Frankie from Flatbush on, didn't get him on. Would love to get you on, Jeremy, from Jets Chaos. I'm going to collaborate with Mike Westhoff as well. That's going to be super cool. But anyway, regardless, I'm happy that, you know, you're creating your content. I mean, there's so many, we talk about this all the time. There's a million Jets content creators, and it's such an awesome community to be a part of. There's so many cool people and kind people too. So you agree with me, Zach's going to be fine. And I agree. He's just kind of learning, right? Still learning the game, still learning how to be a quarterback. We are going with a fullback. Yeah, Wesco is exactly who I'm thinking. They also have the other guy that they played in spots last year. I don't remember his name. He's a big dude, big, strong guy. There's a chance that they opt for a fullback over a 4th tight end. It's not a guarantee. But if they stick Cager on the practice squad, let's do it. That would be pretty sweet. I think that would be huge for him, by the way, to be on the practice squad. That would be great. And it would give us another guy that we have had, off and on with the Jets now, and he has some familiarity. I'm hoping for him, man. I'm rooting for him. There's not a single player I'm not rooting for on the Jets. Bawden, thank you. Yes. Nick Bawden, I believe his name is. Yep, Nick Bawden. Yeah. Everybody was letting me know. Thank you, guys. Yeah, yes, Christy Marie, that's the other one. And I did reach out to them, actually. So it's not really breaking news, but I've mentioned it before. They, I talked to Tyson, and he said he's definitely up for it, for a summer collaboration with Let's Talk Jets Radio. So yeah, they'll be coming on for sure. That's super cool of you to say that. I have not had a whole lot of interaction with them as of yet. But I think that prior to starting to create my own content, I watched a ton of everybody, but I loved watching their live stream shows. They have a great like a perspective, I guess, if you will, for the fan. I think they represent our fans very well. You know, when we're frustrated, it's great to listen to their show. It almost feels like a therapy for real. So they're great. I mean, I'm not trying to kiss their butts or anything, but they're fantastic, and I can't wait to get them on here. I would really like to do that for sure this summer. No guarantees that we will carry a fullback. The only thing I will throw out there at you, Drew Procabra, is that we do run fullback formations. So if they're going to have 4 tight ends, ideally one of them could be, could play fullback, kind of like Wesco. Wesco could play tight end, reps. He could also play fullback. Cager's not going to offer that. Cager's not going to play fullback. You threw in there that Conklin could play some H-back, and I do think he's lined up as an H-back, so that's not a crazy thing to suggest. I'd be shocked if they used him a lot like that. But listen, man, I'm not against it at all. Zach Wilson should watch Rodgers and Mahomes to pick up their processing from read, snap to play. Those are some of the best. And for good reason, man. You make a great point talking about the mental aspect of being a quarterback. I would venture to say that being a quarterback, I'm going to say like 80% of it is mental. Right? I mean, like there certainly has to be some physical capability with your quarterback. I'm not saying that you can go out there and have my throwing arm or my throwing ability, but it's so much a mental aspect, a mental position, a mental sport, and a position to play in a very, demanding sport. So NFL, you got to be able to read and react very, very quickly. And as a quarterback, it's the same thing. I think it's safe to say it's also the hardest position to play in all of sports. So yeah, he has a lot to learn, and he definitely needs to work on his processing. If he is smart as they suggest he is, which that's the reporting, is that Zach is a very, very smart dude. It can pick things up very quickly. I have full confidence that he can do it. Yeah, Wesco. I don't know. I think they still envision him as being versatile, but yeah, I think that's probably his best position. He's not that effective to be playing strictly fullback in my mind. Yes, great point, second wave. Wasn't much of a running game last year. Makes any quarterback better. Definitely. And being able to use play action will help a young quarterback as well. I think that Breece Hall and Michael Carter and the running game and the tight ends are a huge benefit to Zach Wilson. And still, again, he's going to be developing. I don't care what kind of second-year step you expect him to have. He's still going to be learning the game in his second year. So don't sleep on that. And a running game definitely goes a long way in helping that. Now, this was the comment that I was laughing at. You're definitely not wrong, okay? But I'm gonna say one thing about this. So Marino may not have been a book smart guy. He may not have killed his SAT score, but he was football smart, and he did know how to read a defense. Of course, his arm talent, and you could even throw in Mahomes as far as like having a rare arm. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is in that conversation. Certainly, their physical abilities made them as great as they are. But I still stand by what I said. The mental aspect of the game, if you take away, the ability to really understand what the defense is doing pre-snap and then be able to, within 2 to 3 seconds, read the defense post-snap while the bullets are flying, that's the next level that a quarterback has to be able to take. And I think Marino, even though you're saying he was no genius, I think he was football smart. I think he knew what he was doing on that football field. And he was an incredible quarterback, incredible arm talent. Obviously, that was what he was known for, that quick release. Yeah, there was all kinds of stuff from him coming out of Pitt. They were saying he wasn't smart. And then that's why the Jets didn't take him. They took Kenny O'Brien instead. So Kenny O'Brien was a good quarterback. Not Marino's level, though, that's for sure. I have not heard this. I will have to find this after I get off here. And I am going to get off here in just a few moments, guys. Jets Chaos says, hard not to get pumped listening to Corey Davis talking about Garrett Wilson. I'm going to listen to that. Oh, man. Marino and Sapp. Let's not go down. Let's not go down this terrible, dark path that we're heading down. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the call-in show. And I just want to thank you again for tuning in, for listening to me talk. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, hit that like button. And if you're new here, subscribe to Jets Today. Got a live interview coming up July 20th with legendary coach Mike Westhoff. He's going to join myself and James Wighouse from Jets X Factor. And we're going to be discussing, as we get closer to training camp, all of the things New York Jets. Everything that you want to talk about, everything that you want to hear and listen to, we will discuss it, and we will involve you as we go along the way. That's how I want it to be. Doesn't matter if I have 5 people watching or if I have 200 people watching. I want people involved in the comments. I want people involved, calling into the shows. That's why this show exists, is because I want to hear from you guys. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right here. Again, thank you a million for tuning in and for watching this episode. Don't forget to call in. I'm sorry, not to call in. Jesus. Don't forget to stay tuned for more content this offseason. Again, thank you a million, guys. Go Jets. I'll see you guys next time. Word from my daughter. Peace, y'all.